Hello, friends. Welcome back to Value Vintage Cards. So, this episode, I want to chat a little bit further about grading and specific kind of case study. So, I want to share a little bit of what I've done with my collection in terms of one of my favorite players. It's New Jersey. Very excited to have this. Dale Murphy. So, for those of you that are not as familiar, he's one that I would advocate strongly for to get in the Hall at some point. I think his career, his numbers, and the person he is, and what he did for a peak amount of time is very, very worthy. So, career stats sometimes can be misleading because you'll see folks, tail off or have some years that aren't necessarily contributing towards improving their case. But I think when you look at the peak, it is very, very hard to tell the story of the decade of the 80s without some significant time spent on Dale Murphy's contributions and performance. So I want to take that and tie that in a little bit to our recent conversation of, um, grading, when to grade, when not to grade, what does it do, what's your return on it kind of idea. And Dale Murphy being a somewhat recent, he's tail end of what most of us consider to be vintage. His rookie being 77, and then he tails into the 80s and 90s and things like that, where you get into junk wax and overproduced and all that the fun stuff. But for a lot of us, I think growing up in that era, you do kind of bleed into that range. So you leave vintage for nostalgia and childhood heroes kind of collecting. But I want to dive in a little bit on Dale Murphy in particular and share some things that you might be surprised that are in my collection. So when I got back in, I mean, even, years and years ago, grading was becoming a thing. Um, but in recent, I think we've seen a lot of big premiums and a lot of big emphasis placed on the actual grade received. So I was curious. I did, over time, pick up a few of these. So I'm going to share just a few that I bet will surprise you. If you look at what that is, 1989 Hills Team MVPs. So it's one of those like regional offshoots. But that is a Gem Mint 10. I'm going to guess most people did not expect me to have a PSA 10 that I paid a big premium for. But I did. These can go anywhere from mid 20s. Maybe you steal one for the low 20s. Averages are probably in the 30s, up to 40s. COVID, you know, peak spikes. You see all of these little cards going for like 60, $70 when they're in a Gem Mint 10. So that's an interesting one. I thought that was just fun to get something that was different and not just Topps Clear Donruss kind of range. And then I looked at early 80s. I'm sure a lot of us are like this, but I started collecting hard probably 84, 85, 86, 87 was wheelhouse. So anything just prior to that, I thought was, unique, fun, scarce. It would be a friend's older brother that might have it. So anytime I could see like an 81, 82, even 83s, I was always super impressed. So when I started looking at the idea of doing this, 82 Fleer, Dale Murphy, and same idea. I figure if I'm going to get some 10s, I'm going to get a player I collect and a player that's reasonable. So, this could be, I think the average price is 30 some, can you find, I think occasionally you'll see one again go for like 20s, but high 30s, $40, something like that is probably pretty reasonable. And I did the same thing with 81. So I have another 10. So if I was showcase showdowning, I'd be doing pretty well in my Dale Murphy Fleer run. Uh, Here's what's mind blowing. So as I get into this and I go to my LCS and want to just add some stuff for fun, you got this guy slabbed perfection. Call it 35, $40. You got this guy unslabbed Not perfection, but not bad. I think if you really looked at the condition of the cards side by side, um, really trying to look at like every little fine detail of that. Corners aren't bad. I mean, centering is not 50-50, but it's not offended. But I mean, look at that's the real price tag. And then I got discounted. So you're talking uh, 1/200th probably. If one's $40, the other one's 20 cents. And if I sent this into PSA and they slapped an 8 or a 9 on it, I'm upside down just on grading fees. So would I ever submit that is maybe a different topic for a different day. Same thing with the 81 Fleer. So this one I did pay more for, and this one's definitely rougher. Look at that. I got hosed 50 cents. There is a little corner ding to it, which to me is what bothers me more so. Centering, left to right's good, top to bottom's a little less than perfect, but to me, you can't control the centering. Unless it really disturbs the card, for me, I don't care about centering as much. Um, what I care about is, there is a little corner ding. Corner that I think it's this corner maybe has just a little bit of impact and dingness to it. Um, so it's not quite perfect. But again, you're talking $40 to 40 cents. So it's 1/100th. For myself, it would be very hard to ever drop the $40 on that card again. um, because the enjoyment factor, if you ask me what 81 and 82 Fleer look like, I can bust those out and I'm just as happy. And that's a 75-cent sticker price. And then I negotiated down. Showing some others. The other big fun card in the 80s for Dale Murphy. You get his rookies and things like that, but 89 Upper Deck. This thing in a 10 goes for $500 on average. I think just a pinch over. In an 8 like this, it's closer to $100. I think this was like 70 when I bought it. So my question for my grading fans, because I don't know. I don't see what's wrong with it. An 8 to a 10. I mean, other than the two digits, please point it out. Please call me out and tell me I'm amateur hour. It's old eyes, it's lack of experience. I don't know. This to me, even the back, I don't see anything that causes this to not be a pretty gosh darn perfect card. I don't know. It's a good 8. So just thoughts. Um, and that's one of the reasons, honestly, when you're looking at investing in your cards, if you're looking at, pop to me, once you get over 100 for an 89 upper deck, I assume there's a lot ungraded. A lot ungraded. So I don't think the little pop report really does anything for telling me what's really out there. But for me, I mean, somebody saying like, yeah, it's definitely a solid near mint to mint kind of card. It's an 8. It does mean it's not creased. The corners are in good shape. No major impacts. No paper loss writing. Centering is going to be pretty solid, so it's not going to be one that does have major blemish to it in terms of production end of things. So I don't mind necessarily having something that somebody else has evaluated and said it's an 8. But when you look at where else you can put your dollars and your coin, for me with Dale Murphy, I really like doing stuff like that. And that one, they didn't care to have the card evaluated. But the card's in good shape. But you'll notice when I show autographs as much as possible. Either the item has to be super cool, or things like that. Dale Murphy, NL MVP 82 and 83. I will absolutely pay up when you give me like dates or Rookie of the Year, or MVP, or Hall of Fame, or some kind of designations on there. I absolutely love that. So for me, that's a big win. And then sometimes I will grab ones that I just thought were super cool. 81 Donruss. I don't really care about the autograph grade either. I just, as long as it's not smudged or having issues or done in pencil if you can avoid it. Some of the older ones, Red Grange, Rogers Hornsby, when I pick up the autographs, I'm like, well, I don't care if it's in crayon and it's fading. Like that's gonna have to be all you can do because uh, you don't get choices. But I thought those were kind of interesting that that's even in my collection, and I'm always willing to celebrate Dale Murphy and take a look at through some cards. But when you look at scarcities and grades, and it's I don't mind. I'll show you some of his rookies that I've got. 4.5. Half the time these will go for around the price of grading. So someone sent it in hoping it would get a little better. It didn't, and now you're barely recouping your money back, and sometimes you're upside down on it. But I do have that one. I do have PSA 6. I don't get caught up in the investor grade or whatever else there is. And the other one is also a 6, which is kind of fun when you can see like the variations in um, what these are. So a 6 to a 6. SGC has opinions on it as well. They also think a card like that is worthy of a 6. The old Kevin Paisley rookie on there. So I know Mark will be checking that out. This one, it's another one. It's a 6.5. What do we got, folks? Maybe a slightly soft corner. Centering with those boxes, I feel like my eye plays tricks on me just a little bit, but I don't I don't see major blemishes. I don't see major issues and drama and impact and creasing and like I don't what makes that a 6.5 and not a 7.5 or an 8 or I'm sure there's just a little bit of softening somewhere, but if you showed me an 8 next to that and said give me the 6.5 and some money, I'm gonna say I don't see the reason to. I'm gonna stick solid with my 6.5. In fact, to such a degree that like I don't even mind if they're ungraded. Like those to me, um, I mean, some of these are a little bit rougher. May not hold it that way. So maybe a little bit rougher, a little bit dinged. So I mean, you're not even going to get the value out of this to send it in for grading. This one, I promise you, I did not spend $20 on that card, but it's mostly sharp. I think it's got one like little ding corner to it. This one, same thing. It's almost like it's just to me, that's just got the slightly handled wear. Somebody took good care of this, but probably put it in a box or shoe box or something like that, storing it. This one got some love. That might have been pitched against a wall to see who wins the cards for the elementary school gambling back in the day. And this one, local card shop, you ask what the values are. I mean, good golly, perfect no. That's $5 minus discount. So call that $3.66. Like that's probably somewhere in the range of what I would have paid for that. That's craziness. So that's a bit of the Dale Murphys. That's a little bit of extra insight on some grading. I definitely get it why folks grade. Preserving value. Some for some it is aesthetics. I think Rusty framed it as artwork getting a nice frame. I mean, sometimes you do invest in the frame just to make the artwork stand out even more. So I love that analogy and that perspective. and I will probably frame a few more cards. Things that are scarce, things that are unique, undersized. A lot of times do look really neat in a slab because it helps to give them that artwork frame aspect to it. And I always say it's, you're not doing a all or nothing comparison. It's not 15 bucks SGC or completely free. It's 15 bucks SGC or still something. I still have to put that thing in a nice case and protect it and keep it safe from harm and protected in my collection. So I wouldn't say it's always, $15 versus nothing. It's 15 versus something. So it's just how much extra you're willing to go and what are you expecting in return. So just a little bit more. I want to share some Dales and maybe shock some people with my PSA 10s. So yeah, just having some fun and always appreciate. I'm loving seeing folks posting extra, response videos and their perspectives, and it's just so insightful and interesting to learn why people do grade or why people don't grade, and the passion and the beauty of it all is that if we were all thought exactly the same way, gosh, would it be competitive to buy the stuff I want to buy, and it would be really really boring when someone did a show and tell because I would say, I bet they're going to show the 1982 Fleer Dale Murphy in a 10. Whoop, there it is. And we all got it. Like that's not fun. So it's really, really fun to see, someone that collects the unique stuff, someone that collects, high grade, someone that collects low grade, someone that collects, all the different ways. So just, it is about enjoying it. People always say, collect what you like. And it's not about persuading people. It's just about sharing your perspective. And sometimes, you share something and people say, that resonates with me. I'm gonna pursue a new card, or I'm gonna, maybe change my philosophy, or maybe not change directions, but maybe shift directions, or consider my direction, or maybe it just adds conviction to your direction. And you just say, you know what, PSA 10 all the way, or ungraded for the win. Whatever you want to have as your philosophy of collecting. That's what makes it fun. So enjoy. I will see y'all on the next video. Take care.